Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Donna Fiesel, and I'm your host of Donna's Edge Television Talk Show, where truth matters. Thank you so much for watching every day, Monday through Friday, beginning at 1 p.m. as I get to ride home with you in the afternoon. It's always such a fun ride. We are syndicated on television. That's Abundant Television, found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. And don't forget the podcast on the Newscasters.com. Continue sending emails, by the way. I treasure those. You are not bothering me one bit. Continue sending those, Donna at donnasedge.com. That's Donna at donnasedge.com. You can also find our website, and that's donnasedge.com. There you go. It's that easy. But again, thank you so much. I've got Victoria Lee Scott with me. She is guru. I'd hate to say your business card. It's got to be like the size of a billboard. So she's with the Newscaster studio. And I'm just telling you, I'm glad to be in the mix. I'm just glad to be able to say, I'm with the Newscaster studio. What did you get? How is this happening?
Did you get your welcome? Did you get your welcome letter?
What welcome letter?
I sent in your email. I sent a welcome letter to all newscasters.
Oh yes. Yeah, no, I was like,
yeah, and now today I'll send out the actual newsletter. So the newsletter, just so you and everybody know what we're going to do with our newsletter, and you can post it. We're going to, spotlight studios. So we'll do one of an interview and put, maybe your or my show up, and it's just wonderful to have, the opportunity to do what you and I are able to do. I mean, we've been doing this a long time, and it was a lot different years ago, wasn't it?
Oh, it was, wasn't it? And when I started too, was back in the dial-up internet days. Dial-up. We didn't have the Zoom. We didn't have StreamYard. Didn't have all that stuff, and it was pretty different. And carrying equipment with you, I dreaded going to somebody's business. I just dreaded it. I would always just, please come to my studio, please. But now technology is, I've got this little thing right here now that I use. It's called the Pod Track 2. And it's not by the Zoom company, Internet Zoom company. It's another company all within itself. And that, I carry that with me now when I go to Alabama and when I do my interviews. And this right here is my little speaker right here.
Yeah. Yeah, isn't it great?
Gizmo. And it's just, I mean, I'm loving it. I'm loving the new technologies that we have, because now we can do more and it's not so troublesome.
Well, that's what's so exciting. I mean, when I started doing this, there wasn't even the word podcast. It was internet radio. That's what we were. It was not. And all of a sudden, I didn't know when I remember, well, is it a podcast? And I was like, okie dokie, time to advance. What's that? And there I am, the research queen. So I did my research, and it was very interesting, because I realized that what I had built was a social media podcasting news network. And we didn't put up a website. Because I had learned what was happening, and what really started to inspire me in this whole thing, Donna, was how much YouTube was censoring just people's voice. And it was censoring in the wrong direction, and people who really had something. I mean, when you're taking down my pastor, this is something to look at, you know what I'm saying? And so in that, we decided, along with Clint Day, who also has a studio with us, and Murray Edwards, as VP. And we decided, the three of us, that we were going to build a network. And in that, give people the real freedom of speech. And that's kind of what we've done at this point. It started out one way, because that's the way I was led. I was led to Georgia. This girl with this Long Island twang, who lives in California. The Lord puts on my plate, and he's like, all right, well, now go convince Southern gentlemen. I'm like, oh, you're kidding me.
Within itself. And I'm from the South.
and here I honestly think that I entertain them. But I did realize, and what it was is, after our first meeting, the compliments on the way that I conducted, the meeting, was actually what started this whole thing, because I was formerly asking for something else. And then when I was hit with every roadblock and just Laban just slammed the door, and I just thanked everybody, and that was it. Within 2 minutes, Mr. Day said, "I've got an idea. Can you?" And I said, "Yes, I can." And he gave me full reign. He said, "Here's what we have to work with." And I had Murray, and Murray, I said, "Can we do this?" And Murray's like, "Yeah, I think we can." So we just started putting one foot in front of the other, and here we are. And it was interesting because our platform was, everybody's like, "Well, you don't have this, you don't have that." And they're looking to make this viral, these big numbers, but that's not where I was led. I was led to build something persistently and precisely. Voice that was being shut down. Their voice was being censored. So I was asked, and that's how I got in the whole mix of that. And then, the Trump bus, we were able to launch the company off the Trump bus in Georgia, which was just so exciting. Come on. But, and it was just very interesting because when Trump came into office this time around, there was a huge sigh of relief that people didn't feel so put in a box or afraid to say something, somewhere. So the freedom of speech started, like that door started cracking open once again. And the good thing is that even interviewing people, this wasn't built for one side or another. This was built for the freedom of speech, for all of us to unite as strong Americans, to have something to say. We've been quiet too long. And I realized that my generation has a lot of strength, a lot of hope, and plenty of experiences. And I think it's a blessing and an honor. And I am humbled that I'm able to be in a position to offer people a place, whether it's a cooking channel, whether we got whistleblowers and, just you. I mean, look at you every day. I laugh when I see the traffic report. I love Donna. I don't even live where you live, but I love the traffic report, because what it does is it gives us a sense of belonging. And I think that for so long, the prior administration did a very good job in individualizing people in a box. So you have a lot of individuals in the same box, but nobody's talking and nobody's communicating. It's like, well, how many likes do you get? How many? None of that matters to me. None of that matters, because I know by doing the right thing, all those to have the ears to hear will hear what we have to say. And it's been a great relief for me, because as you know, you and I have been waving this flag it's like our country is changing, our children are changing, our lives are changing before our eyes. Why are we letting this happen? And all of a sudden the tables have turned, and boy, have they turned. I mean, let's just look at that. So people now have so much freedom of speech that we have to be really careful now because of AI infiltrating. I mean, that's a major concern. So now that we have this real freedom of speech, eeks. I mean, a part of me goes,
it's almost opening up Pandora's box. And what is that? Okay, first of all, I love kids, and I can't wait to be a grandmother. I mean, I'm going to be the most fun grandmother on earth.
You and me both.
Oh, we're going to have so much fun. But this is something that, and I love looking at kids on the internet. AI is using people, and I used to love to watch the Golden Girls. That was one of my favorite shows right there. Now they have, and they're using AI, and they have these babies that are being the characters of the Golden Girls. Have you seen any of that?
Yeah, but it's even more than that. There is a whole thing now with babies. And so it's like they're interviewing, baby, you were just born. What about the world? And what's happening is that this baby that they're interviewing, what he's saying is, my parents are broke. I'm going to live with grandma. I mean, I'm serious. What you saw is cute. I'm starting to see has already turned.
Already turned.
It has already turned.
You just made my point. Because you
Right
can only live off of this wonderful new change for a short period of time, and then Satan has to put his claws in on it, and then there you go.
And it did so fast. Something, and you know what started, and I know this because I watch how the advertising, I've watched how it changes and who are in the background of these ads. I watch all of that. And it's been, you know, very interesting to see that where the AI is meant to confuse the whole purpose.
It does.
And is that you? All right. I'm declining this, but right now somebody's calling me from South Carolina. What are the odds of calling me from South Carolina right now?
And I'm living there.
Yes, so on the studio phone. Are we taking calling guests? Are we taking calls? I just got a call and it said South Carolina 803. That's all I saw.
Well, because you said that, I said, did I accidentally call her? So no, I didn't. It wasn't.
What would be the odds here? So you know, my point is that we have to be very careful as far as what we, you know, we put out there and what we stand for. But it's very interesting on how fast it changes. Your point exactly. Very interesting. And I watched it, and getting back to my point, I was so smitten by the Haribo commercials. The Haribo are little fruity gummies, right? And the first one was they're at a high level office meeting, but they're in children's voices, and they like the gummies. And the same thing with the football players. The two football players are sitting on the bench, and he said, "It is hard to, every time you chew a little bit, it gets fruity." And they're talking in children's voices. And I knew that this is, although it's cute, don't get me wrong, we are now moving children and infants into an adult realm where they don't belong, bottom line. There are so many ways, but now, I mean, wait till you start seeing the amount of these, you know, a microphone goes, a baby's walking, newborn. I mean, and they're putting the microphone, and the things they're saying are not cute. They're cursing. They're using foul language. This is not good. This is not cute at all. We are now, because we can't get through to gender, transgender, yada, 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 yada. So now let's go for something new. Now we're going to remove, and everything is free game, whether you're 90 or 9 months, doesn't matter.
So what's wrong with a child being an innocent child? I mean, why do people want to take that innocence away from them?
You know, it's very interesting. When my daughter went to 6th grade, she was very, you know, in a small Naples Bayside Academy. Every grade had 2 classes. You're in this class next year. You'll be with your friends in that class, you know, that whole thing. But when she got to 6th grade in middle school, the first day I picked her up, she got in school crying, got in the car crying. I said, "Why are you crying?" She said, "Because my friends tell me I've lived a sheltered life." And I pulled the car over and I turned around to her and I started talking to her and said, "Yes, you tell your friends that you had a childhood. That's what you tell them."
Nothing wrong with that. They're taking away the imagination of a child.
And that's my point. And this happened in her first day of middle school. First day of middle school, they're telling me I've led a sheltered life. And I said, "Yes, you're in 6th grade. You have led a shelter. I've sheltered you." And it's just
that. What is wrong with a child being a child?
There is absolutely. That's why she has the imagination and the artistic talent that my child has, because I would come home and my child would be drawing to an Elvis Presley, Frank Sinatra medley. Okay? Don't ask me. I mean, it's incredible. But that's where her mind found, because she first went to bed the first 2 years of her life with classical violin music every single night, every night. And then she was a dancer. But she also, her and Lawrence were very into musicals. He would cook and they would do Oklahoma. When we took her to see Oklahoma, she wore the opera gloves. She had the Sit Princess, and everybody, "Oh, look at that." You know, she was just all ready to go to the theater. And it was, you know, I would let her wear those plastic high heels. But I let her be a child. I let her build. I am not kidding. Justin Angel on Sundays. That was release downtime in our family. Justin Angel started under the end table with a fort. Then she wound up under the coffee table with a fort. Then she started getting larger. So she wound up with the dining room table was her fort. And she would go in there with her books and with her and just let her imagination run wild. And then I'd go in and say, all right, and we do whatever. And the same thing with Lawrence, and a childhood. And that's what as I sit here and I watch these children, they're pushed so fast to grow up so fast. I told you, I don't know if I ever told you. So I had 3 women in my salon. Okay. So 3 women come in, and they bring a baby in a carry-all. So if a baby's in a carry-all, that baby's tiny, right? So they sit there, and the 3 women, and they give the child, they put something on the phone for a child in the carry-all and give the child the phone. And the child sits there the whole time. As soon as it ends, the child, they pick the phone, they go like this, they give the child back, there's the phone. I was so taken by this. I was so bothered by this. You have 3 women here, and I sat there and watched none of them interact with this child.
We have to have humanity. We have to have touch, the human touch. We've got to have that touch. We have to.
That's why I love it.
This is what's happening, and I think it's done on purpose. And I know you do too. You and I think a lot the same. But okay, so you take away the imagination of a child. You take that away. What do they have? They're cookie cutter. It's like you say, one child, they're all the same.
What my father used to say, an idle mind is the devil's workshop.
Everyone has their own identity.
And that's when we as children, that's when we grow into those imagination. Those are where we get our desires, our hopes, our dreams. That's where they come from. And if we take that away from a little girl climbing a tree, she might be a rescuer and save people off a mountain. Do you know what I'm saying? We're not allowing them. We're pushing them into what we did. My daughter wrote me a letter thanking me, because we live in an area where water polo and soccer were the big sports. My daughter didn't want to do. She didn't want to do junior guards. Justin Angel wanted to go to marine biology camp and dance 5 days a week. That's what she wanted to do. And I let her. And in her letter, she actually, because all of our friends were water polo, and she thanked me for just allowing her and never pushing her into something that I knew. I knew the first time Justin Angel went to a soccer practice. I knew when I showed up at the soccer field and Justin Angel is sitting on the high school principal's knee, Sandy Blazer. And I knew that this was not a sport for Justin Angel. I just knew it. I just knew, and I'm like, she sat there the whole time, right? She doesn't want to play. Justin Angel didn't play team sports. She was never into being on a team. She's too much of a solo. Give her a solo dance, put her in marine biology where she can paddle her own kayak, do her own, whatever they were doing. She had her own place. And, and if we don't see that on our children, and as you and I have witnessed, how many parents have put their kids into things where, well, I paid this much money, so you're going, or I want you to do this, or they failed at it, so now the kid has to succeed at it. No, and that's not the way. That's not the way it is, because we need to give them that time. And that's why grandparenting is so important, because grandparenting is the one thing where we can expand their mind. We get to give them that hope. We get to share their dreams with them. That's what's so important. And that's why it's such a gift being a grandparent. It has nothing to do with it is our child's child, but that is an obligation that God has blessed us with, to bring something that mommy can't bring, but granny can.
I wanted to ask you about something else.
Yeah.
I couldn't wait to have you on the show to talk about this, because the timing has been critical and it's absolutely wonderful. Have you ever heard of someone, this may just be a Southern thing, sometimes somebody's going to do something and we call it, they jumped the gun. In other words, they did it way before they needed to.
We know that. I know the term.
You guys say jump the gun too. Okay, so let's talk about Cracker Barrel.
Oh,
Okay.
how sad. What an icon.
What happened? Okay, first of all, you're from up north. You loved Cracker Barrel because you could, it was almost like you're going back in time. I like the history part of it because you could look on the walls and you could see like an old loom, like an old spinning wheel. You could see like a scrub board where women used to wash their husbands' clothes and their kids' clothes. And you could see all these nostalgic things. Are they trying to take away history, yes, even in that sense? And,
yeah,
and maybe your feelings about your memories. Is that what they're trying to do?
It's actually desensitizing. So if they change, if you take the crack about, now look at the emblem. I mean, they took everything off but the wording. There's nothing there but the wording. The old man on the barrel. I mean, that's what it was about. And do I feel that history? Yes, I really, really do. Everything, if you've noticed, homes here, I'm in California. I mean, the classic is gone. Everything's a big square box. Just a big square box, level on top of a square box. And it just seems that so much of what is a part of of history, which I love going like an antiquing and give me an abandoned building when I was a child, and that was my Disneyland. Let me find something. You know, the first time I found those things that they punch out the electricians and they look like nickels. Right? I mean, you know, we put those on the railroad tracks. I mean, it was crazy, but I digress. Sorry. But there is a history that gives us comfort, that gives us a sense of belonging. And that's going back to what I was just talking about. That sense, everything is sure. It's like, wait a minute. Let's just take now. Everybody can have you don't need anything or anything to have a podcast. You can just have a podcast. But now what are people realizing? Having their own solo podcast, you know, they're interacting with internet people. They're not interacting with their community. They're not interacting with those who are doing the same thing. And that's what we need. That's why the Newscaster Studio, because all of it, what you're saying, yes, they are they're chipping away at the history so that a new thought process could come in. And that thought process really takes away from our emotions. You know, it really kind of hardens us a little bit. Do you know what I'm saying? Does that make sense? It takes away that I'm a big comfort food person, you know, and even in that, the only way I can get my comfort food now is by cooking it myself, because anything that once was comfort food is no longer healthy for me in the food chain. It just isn't. I am so afraid to eat anything. I kid you not. I'm reading everything. I'm like, why is antifungal bacteria thing in cheese? In all cheeses? Wait a minute. What about weed? There is just everything I'm looking, you know what I'm saying? So I think what it is it's just to I think if you take these things away, it's easier to control the masses. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
That's how I really see it. I see every time you chip away, you're taking away a conversation that you and I could have. Follow? You know what I'm saying? You're taking that away. You're chipping away. And it's interesting because we can see it so clearly, can't we?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look how clear.
It's so easy to see what's happening. But now when you take away people's hope, when they're in their little box and everybody's box all looks the same. And as I feel, we were looking for a house to be in South Carolina. And so we wanted to be out in the country. And Phil said, why do you like the country so much? And I said, I can be me. I can just be out in the country and I can just be myself. I can bend over and not have to worry about my pants being shown. I can just do what I want to do out there.
Whatever you want to do.
The other thing is I just never thought I wanted to live in a place, in a subdivision where I had to count the houses to make sure I went to the right door when I'm going home. And I've had to do that before. It's like, wait a minute, I'm at the wrong house. I'm the fifth house on the right. 1, 2, when they all look the same. It's almost fascism in its infancy.
Well, let's really be honest here. I'm up here in California, and these fires were meant to take those $1 million waterfront ocean view properties, burn them to the ground, and then rebuild them with low-income housing. Excuse me? Because those low-income housing that will be built will be that smart housing that will keep people in there. You don't need to go anywhere. You don't need a car. You don't need anything. We'll deliver it. We'll bring it. You don't need to do anything. What are we doing?
I feel like COVID was, and before COVID, things were happening too. But I'm just saying that was the test run. And you and I have talked about that. You've talked about COVID as a test run. And it was just to see if you could, how many people can you go somewhere and see a sea of people with a mask? And it worked, except for a few of us. But I'm just saying, and we were the bad guys. You're going to give grandma COVID.
No, how about this? How long can you keep people locked in their homes with fear? How long? That was the test. How long can you?
Yeah, but if they hadn't done that, I don't think Trump would have been the president the first time. I don't think he would have gotten another shot at being the president of the United States. People,
and that's why he
tired of it.
And that's why we needed that 4-year break to watch Biden and the rest of them, because unless we saw it with our own eyes, are you serious? We watched every time you put that man in front of a camera. We watched. Who's running this country? Serious. So it was a perfect 4 years. And then not only that, but then on the campaign trail for these crooked politicians to tie President Trump up with these allegations, with everything that he was doing, so much that they didn't realize. They really thought, and I've been talking about this for a long time, that they really thought that they had complete and utter control worldwide. That's what they actually thought. And you know what? And they went quiet those 4 years, and they did this. And those looks of him sitting in that courtroom, straight on. You want to put that next to the American Eagle? It looked exactly like determined as the American Eagle is.
Okay, let me ask you a question. Okay, so yeah. you own a huge conglomerate. You own a huge company. Let me ask you, okay, there are two different marketers out there. President Trump's a marketer, okay? So picture him in the jail with the look on his face, perfect marketing chance for him. So what did he do? People were walking around with T-shirts and everything, from the jailhouse to the White House. I mean, you're seeing all these things, and it backfired on them. Now let's talk about that marketer. Now let's talk about the marketer with Cracker Barrel.
Right. Let's go back to that.
Which would you hire, Donald Trump or this chick with Cracker Barrel as your marketer?
You want to know what was the best marketing thing for Donald Trump? Standing in the to-go window in McDonald's. Sorry, but that, and then in the truck with the sanitation workers. That's marketing. And that's what I've done. Everything here is, hey, come on, there's no loopholes, no this. I don't even ask for a credit card, which down the road there will be a hosting fee. But I've built up enough to where I have enough to say now there's a platform that can ask for that. Do you understand? I mean, it's been a long journey, but we have to look at it. I believed that everybody was trying to do what I was attempting to do, but I was ahead of my time, and I had, look how podcasting, look at it. I've been doing this since 1996. Is anybody out there? And then all of a sudden something happens, and every Joe Schmo has a podcast. And I'm like, wait a minute. You all wanted cable TV. You all wanted mainstream media. Leave us alone. I remember the first time we had Bloggers Row. at the Republican convention. Remember, there was the first time that there was, because blogging was brand new and we had Bloggers Row for the first time. And I felt like, wow, you and I have this industry that we have pioneered. And then all of a sudden, big money comes in. And what do? They give everybody and anybody who has a voice or has something to say a place to say it. So it's important that I did what I did, and I didn't explode because I would just be another kid on the block. Right now, we're growing along with people's needs, people's wants. And that's what Donald Trump did. People needed to see somebody real give at a McDonald's counter. People needed to see him with that vest on, the safety vest. We needed to see real. And that's why with the Newscasters studio, it will be what it is meant to be. And I just feel so blessed and honored to say, I don't know. And that's okay, because this is a company that is divinely guided. And then I truly believe that. I mean, you know, every day I hit my Bible and say, all right, how are we going to fight against them today? What are they going to throw at me? But if we learn the salvation, the helmet, the breastplate, and pick up the sword, we then, when we have something that we are fighting for in the name of God, and I don't care what anybody says, when you are doing that wholeheartedly, he will set your path straight.
Yeah, but this is the difference, though, with the Newscasters. Okay, so it's pretty cool that you're a pioneer of all of this. I mean, it's pretty cool, because I feel totally safe with the direction that the Newscasters is heading in, because you had to go through the knocks. You had to go through is there anybody out there? You had to go through those things. Hello. You had to go through all those things to make the Newscasters, a success. And that's why that you were chosen for this. I mean, I know you've had to have thought about that. But I would much rather have you at the head of the round than the chick with Cracker Barrel. I'm just a poor gal.
And it's interesting because, you know, I've continued to do this, but yet a lot of people have come to me, Donna, where it would have been very easy to sell out, you know, but my inside said, no, I know, I could do this, I could do that for you, let me do this, and everything, not the way I want to go.
So you can't forget who your customer is. That's what's happening to Cracker Barrel. They've forgotten their customer.
Right.
You got to cater to them. Well, you're catering to the customer. You're doing what people want. People want real. They don't know more of the fake stuff. We want real. And if you have to sound rude about it, well, then bless your heart, go on ahead and sound rude. But
sometimes
there's rude. Okay, truth is not rude.
Thank you. Because, you know, everybody thinks, because, you know, I am so straightforward. I mean, I really am. But I try to make a point. But what happens is when somebody is denying or even listening to what I'm saying, then you're going to get a different side of me. Because now I'm going to talk in the way that you're going to hear me. You didn't hear me this way, and you didn't hear me this way. So maybe you'll hear me this way.
That's woman 101.
Again, South Carolina is calling me.
Well, listen, we've got.
I don't know. I'm declining it. Another phone call on studio.
Commercial break anyway. Let's go into a commercial break. We're going to be right back in just a few minutes.
Twin City Used Car Sales has been serving drivers in the Northeast Alabama area for years with a quality selection of late model used cars, SUVs, and pickup trucks. On top of our extensive selection and competitive prices, we offer professional auto financing services for used car buyers of all credit levels. Whether you've just begun your search or you're ready to secure your next vehicle, at Twin City Used Car Sales, you will drive away with the vehicle of your dreams. The sales and finance staff at Twin City Used Car Sales looks forward to serving you, and you can apply for financing online before your visit to our used dealership in Gadsden, Alabama. Check us out on the web at twincityusedcars.com or go by our location at 901 First Avenue, Gadsden, Alabama. We sincerely look forward to serving you. At Lamone's Mexican Restaurant, located in Henniger, Alabama, and voted Best Mexican Restaurant of DeKalb County, Alabama 2020, we're here to serve you with authentic Mexican cuisine. Order easily online by going to lamonsmex.com or call 256-657-3999 to place your order. We're open Sunday through Thursday, 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. and Friday and Saturday, 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Whether you're celebrating a cozy date night for two or a celebration for a crowd, at Lamone's you'll love our atmosphere and friendly servers. Thank you for dining with Lamone's Mexican Restaurant. At Liberty Bank, we're all about community, whether it's to help with a charity fundraiser or help families in need. Toys at Christmas or a local football team, we're here for you. You see, we realize the importance of family. Sometimes it's to build a new home or necessary home repairs. We're here for you. If you like the feel of a small town bank with all the conveniences of a big city bank, we're here to serve you. You will find us at any of our convenient locations in DeKalb, Marshall, Etowah, and Blount counties in North Alabama. You can call and speak with any of our friendly staff at 256-659-2175 or check us out on the web at libertybankal.com. And thank you for your support of our community. Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender.
Okay, we are back. My name is Donna, and I'm your host of Donna's Edge television talk show, where truth matters. You can find us on television, Channel 182 Charter Communications, and Abundance Television syndicated, found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. And don't forget the podcast on the Newscasters.com. I'm so proud to be part of that team. I've got Victoria Lee Scott with me. She's on frozen screen right now.
Yeah,
Victoria,
because I can't. Can you hear me at all? Because I can't get back.
I can hear you. I sure can. You might want to go out and come back in again. And that might help you get back in. Because, I mean, it's a beautiful smile I'm seeing right there. Good smile on the screen. So what I'll do, Victoria, if you can hear me, I'll go ahead and take you off. And then you'll just come right back in again. And so let's do the kick from studio. And there she goes. So we'll talk just for a few minutes while we're waiting on Victoria to come back in. This is my studio, by the way. And we live in Abbeville, South Carolina. It's a wonderful place to live. I'm so glad to be here. And I wanted to mention to you the emails that you send are absolutely fabulous. They kind of keep me on track. And they let me know the kind of shows that you would like to see. And it seems to be kind of a mixture with you guys. Sometimes you say, well, I want politics. Sometimes you say, I want you to do some gardening stuff, Donna. Sometimes you say food preserving. So it's just different. It's an all-around variety show. But anyway, we're proud to be here with you. Victoria Lee Scott is with the Newscaster studio, and she'll be coming back in just a few seconds. We don't have a whole lot of time left in this show. But anyway, I just wanted to let you know that your pleasure. And the reason we do what we do is because of you and because of the responses we get from you. But I definitely appreciate that. So a lot of things are going on right now. Election time is coming like right now. As a matter of fact, tomorrow, a lot of elections that are coming across the country. And so we're really excited about that. There she is. She's coming back in and she's on the stage. She's upside down.
Here you go this way. Well, why am I that way?
I don't know. She's going to come back in. I'm sure she'll be here. But now remember, a lot of these are going to be in mayor races, okay, city councils and that kind of thing. And they're very, very important. Those elections are as important, I say, as the presidential election. There she is. She's back in. So, Victoria, I'm talking about there are a lot of elections coming in tomorrow.
Yes.
And so a lot of mayor's races, the city council races, all of those things are happening right now.
Right.
And a lot of people don't go out and vote. They say, well, I just vote during the presidential election. And that is an important race. But now what's happening in your own backyard is pretty important as well. Let's talk to those folks about the elections tomorrow.
There is so much. And it's very interesting, Donna, but I did a lot of shows. And a lot of shows years ago, I was saying that we're not paying attention how they are destroying this country at the mayoral level. And that's what they were doing. And nobody was listening to me. And they were telling me, no, no. And I'm like, no, you're not understanding what's happening. This isn't happening in just one place. This is happening around this country at the mayoral level. And people don't realize, and I'm sure you and I spoke on this at one time, because when we talked about BLM, that was their thermometer for that. Everything they do, like we were talking a few minutes ago, throws it out there to test how the public is going to respond. And then they just go there. But I think what has happened is that the rules of the game have changed. Mm-hmm. And I think one of the best things that I've seen is that by Trump going in, what he did in Washington and Chicago, this is going to allow people to feel safer to once again find their voice and vote. And as long as we keep the fear on at that level, you know what I'm saying, people aren't going to go and vote. And what we need is, the only way this country is going to change is by public opinion now. We no longer can do it through our voting process, because look at Congress, look at this, look at the people we have allowed. We have got to slowly, patiently, and persistently keep a focus on what the foundation of this country was built upon and where we are going to go in order to leave it. You and I do not have grandchildren. We are talking about a generation that's not even here yet, that could be facing, it's not pretty. And we need to stay, and we need to let people know that their voice does count. This isn't just about a presidential election. Do you know, when I had Mark Meckler on my show in the beginning during COVID, Mark Meckler was the president of Parler, that the government took down, if you remember. Now, Mark went and built the Convention of States, and he was on my show, and we were talking, and I said, Mark, what is the one thing you can tell my audience before you go? He said, Victoria, have your parents looked over their children's shoulder enough during COVID to watch their education? I said, they sure have. Look at the internet. We're starting to see all sorts of things. He said, then tell your parents right now, take back your school boards. Because if you, right now, he said, it's the easiest election to win. And the only way you're going to change the direction and the thought process of this country is through our schools. So take back your school boards. Tell parents to get in there and take back your school boards. When you start there, then you're gonna see. But these races that we're seeing, and I mean, I went to Steve Hilton's launch release here in Huntington Beach. Everybody's got something to say, but every time I turn around, Gavin Newsom, how do they keep voting for the same ridiculous people?
I don't get it.
I don't get it either. I've owned my salon for 30 years. There isn't a single person that comes into my salon through me or any of my other clients, Democrats or Republicans, that are telling me that he does a good job. They all hate him. So how does he keep getting elected? How? And that's the problem, because we have to get to and keep chipping it away as what's going on. Look at the one, I mean, look at the mayor in New York, mayoral race, and this guy's got traction. Who's backing this? What is going to happen to Wall Street? What is going to happen to New York itself, the capital? I don't understand. And if we look at it, again, it seems as if it's that chipping away of our country. And now, at least now, we have a way to fight back. You know, and I don't know if it's
let me ask you this question. Okay, because it seems to me we're eating the apple one, or we're eating the elephant one bite at a time. So is it entering in, or do mayors have more power than we imagine they have? And the reason I'm saying that is the next time we were living in Alabama, we were watching Haitians moving in like crazy. I mean, you know, they were illegal.
Yeah.
They had all this money. They were able to buy things. You know, it was odd. You know, you're just coming, and they don't look like they're starving. I mean, we see pictures and photos of our ancestors who were coming. Their clothes were worn. They were tattered. They would look like they hadn't had anything to eat in days. I mean, they were starving to death. But these people coming in look like warriors to us.
And they are.
I mean, you know, so
country place
wouldn't a good mayor say no to some of this stuff?
A good mayor would, but what happened is, let's face it, the district attorneys, the prosecutors, the mayoral level has all been corrupted across this country. And we're going to start seeing those dominoes start to fall. And as those dominoes start to fall, they'll start to go uphill like it's supposed to. Because I'm a true believer in, if I have somebody in front of me and I keep asking them questions, you know, interrogating them, and I keep getting the answer, well, I don't know, well, it's not my job. Okay, then I want to know, who do you answer to? And then I want that person there. And if that person doesn't have an answer, I want to say, and who do you answer to? Whoever that person. And I would keep chipping away at this, because we've allowed money to come in. And money corrupts, and we've watched the corruption across this country. I live in Long Beach. Our roads, our streets are falling apart, but yet there is a scooter on every corner. And not only now a scooter, now they're starting to put even like little mini motorcycles out there. And people are driving all over the place. They're not just on the beach and on the beach lot, and they don't follow the rules, and there are no helmets, and there are no laws. Last night, at least 60 to 100 of bikes and mini bikes go down all through Long Beach on Friday, Saturday nights, and on Sunday nights. And they do it, and it is, to me, it's fear-mongering as far as I'm concerned. When you got all of these pulling up next to you and you're at a red light and they're all cursing, and I mean, it's frightening. And I think what happens is, what you were talking about, hope, when you take people's hope away, you then are at risk of them losing their faith. And then when they lose their faith, that's when they're prime target to become.
That's when chaos happens.
And that's when chaos happens. And that's what I see. I see that the hope that people have, the hope is being diminished. And when the hope is diminished, that the only thing that keeps hope alive is our faith. So if you attack people's hopes, and that's why, take the old man away, because it takes grandpa away. It takes maybe fishing with grandpa, or maybe being on the back of grandpa's motorcycle, or me being in grandpa's basement and opening up a fruit punch soda for me. You know what I'm saying? It takes that away. And that's what people should realize. So look at the difference on those two signs. You had something that reminded you of, there goes my light, of history, and my light is overheating. So it turned off. I hope this light is okay for now, because this is all we have. Technology. Welcome to the world of technology. But I am going to get my heavy light back here, because I'm watching your lighting now. And I like it because I don't want that light in my eyeglasses. So this week for our next show, I'm going to have a screen, I think, and I have different lighting, and keep working it, whatever it is, right? But that's what, and there you go. God just gave me an example to share with you. Okay. So this, just like everybody else, I have the hope and the faith knowing what you and I are doing here. Even though we were shut down before, we still didn't just say, oh, screw that, and just walk away from it. We got back right here. All of a sudden, my light went out, and I realized, as long as I'm not going to burn, this thing is so hot that it turned off. But my point is that we adapt and overcome. But if you don't give people the hope and faith, they're going to react. And that's the difference that we're seeing. So my job is to bring people together to unite, so that we don't have that aloneness anymore. And we got to start at the bottom level, which is at the mayoral level, is where they destroyed this country. So our people will be empowered when you go into these mayor city and you start realizing the corruption, just like the one that was taken out in handcuffs. All right. She went, oh, yay. That's what I want to see. I want to see people that have earned to do right for this country. And there are many that have fought hard to do the right thing. But it is now time. We're in a position for the first time in a very long time that we can clean house. We can clean house.
And we've got that power. We can do that.
And
now you've got to knock on doors to your family, to your friends, your family who have never voted before. First of all, I do say shame on you if you have never voted.
And you know something? Every time Charlie Gasparino, and I don't know if you know Charlie Gasparino every time Charlie Gasparino does a comment or this and that, I was like, your opinion means nothing. You don't vote. And that's what I put on his post. Mr. Gasparino, your opinion means nothing. You don't vote. Why do I want to hear from a man who doesn't vote, who doesn't understand his own compass?
So why doesn't he vote?
I don't know. I never got an answer to that question, but I know that he does not vote. And I mean, I heard it right from his mouth.
Well, that's total insanity.
And that's what I say. So every time I see a post, and that's what my point in what we're talking about is you're going to sit here and you're going to lay out your opinions to me, but you don't believe in your opinions enough to go take a side and vote for them. That's what you're telling me, Mr. Gasparino? Well, do you know what? I don't care what you say. And that's what America needs to see. We need to see people with hollow dreams and trust me, it's coming because now AI, talk to Jesus, AI, now you see these new apps. People are now turning to AI to give them spiritual guidance.
Okay, the guidance you're going to receive is not going to be the holy guidance that you need. Okay, it's going to be someone's warped up idea. Okay, kids who are reading nonsense in their library, in their school library, about I'm confused about my gender, I'm confused about this, I'm confused about that. Why do we need so much confusion? Why is that so important?
So that they could take over our country at mayoral level. How do you think they took over? Remember, let no good credit go to waste. So you light fires over here while you're destroying this over here. That's all that they've done. They've mastered. They didn't go in with a sledgehammer, but they kept just chipping away and giving a cringe to ridiculous. How we allowed men and boys in women's sports is beyond me. How we are allowed to get to the courts and to allow this. How did we allow that? Because we allowed them to keep chipping away. Look at do you remember what was representing our country? We had a bald man with red lipstick stealing designer clothes out of the airport and then wearing them. And then we had the other one, Mr. Levin, in his admiral, in a uniform with a... No. Whatever you want to do on your time is your time, but you are destroying the moral fabric of our country. That's the problem.
And there has to be a safety zone that people can go back to. I mean, you can't just keep doing all this nonsense over and over and over again. And I'm going to use Cracker Barrel for another. A lot of people go to Cracker Barrel, if nothing else, just it made them feel good on the inside. Well, now where can they go?
No, now they're going to everything and make everything cold and stark. And just give you, same thing in restaurants. Look how cold and stark. And now you don't even have a waitress. Or a robot comes and takes your order and then brings you food and you take it off the robot's tray.
I got to ask a question. We don't have that here yet. So you have that in California. Do you have to tip the robot?
I don't think so. We had it actually when I was in Florida. Was I in Florida? With my brother. We were in a restaurant and Las Vegas has them. But I don't think you tip them. I think
why you should have to.
It delivers the check, though.
Yeah. Okay.
But, and that's exactly what we're talking about. It is the little things. And the same thing with, let's go back to the logos, trying to tell us that Fruit of the Loom, you know what I'm saying? They're trying to change our perception, which then I'm not really quite sure exactly what the big plan is. But I know that controlling the masses plays a very big role, in it. And I think, it's funny because just coming across my mind as we're talking. So just even with the Cracker Barrel. So now you took away the old man and you just have the wording on the sign, fine. But it takes away a memory, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
It takes away the expansion or a memory to be enjoyed or to be just recognized. And that's what I find the danger. I find cutting away, let's face it, Aunt Jemima is gone. I think Uncle Ben is gone. Right? Who else is gone, Donna? We've watched them take away. And truthfully, gosh, there's nothing like some Aunt Jemima syrup as far as I'm concerned. Serious. It's like this is our history. Why are we and I do think it is to have us conform to a more structured way of living.
You know what? You can make your own syrup.
Right.
It's easy to do. Let me tell you real quick, then we're going to have to go. Okay, this is all you got to do. You need 1 cup of, I'm telling you, you can make your own maple syrup or whatever flavor you'd like. Okay, now you need maple, not flavoring. You need the maple extract. It's going to cost you more, but it'll wind up paying for itself. Okay, you need 1 cup of white sugar, 1 cup of brown sugar, 1 cup of water. All you've got to do is put those 3 ingredients together, put it on top of your stove, rapidly boil it. You got to have a rolling boil going on there. Rolling boil for 4 minutes. Take it off the stove, exactly 4 minutes. Take it off the stove. Add your maple extract. It's going to taste better than something you're paying $20 for a little bottle for. And it's all natural. Okay, it has nothing fake in it. It doesn't have weird ingredients. You can't even pronounce the name. That's all you got to do. The whole process takes you 6 minutes.
I'm trying it. I love Donna's tips. So I've got it. I've got the maple syrup extract, 1 cup of brown sugar, 1 cup of white sugar, 1 cup of water. Bring it to a rolling boil for 4 minutes. Remove it off the stove for 4 minutes and add in how much of the maple extract?
1 tablespoon.
Got it.
Okay, so you can go to, now make sure it's extract and not flavoring.
I put extract with an exclamation.
Extract. It's got to be. And then you can buy it off of eBay for about $30 and it's going to be about a quart and it's going to last you forever. I have maple extract that I've had for 5 years and it's still just as good as when I bought it.
I actually just went and got this whole kit that is going to tell me how to make all sorts of things with natural ingredients. And it gave me the bottles and the measurements. So I have this whole kit with and I'm like so excited to do everything, naturally. I am
Think about, you get in the car, you're out of maple syrup, you go to the grocery store, you're in line forever, you're on the road forever because you got all this traffic and everything going on. And that's going to take you a heck of a lot longer than 6 minutes to make your own syrup. I'm just telling you.
I'm telling you that I'm a kitchen girl. So making my own stuff is really, do you know my daughter just made homemade cannolis and brought them to me and I was over the moon. She goes, Mom, I've been baking with you. You tell me all grandma's recipes. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't even realize the dough rolling it out, the crispy, the filling. She said, brought me canola. I was like, oh my gosh, your grandmother would be over the moon. But
okay, Victoria, tell everybody bye. We got to go.
It's healing. Do your baking and your cooking, people. Donna.
Hang around, girl. I got to get you on for next month, okay?
Yeah.
And everybody, thank you so much. Hope you have a super duper awesome blessing.